Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. We are back once again to bring you a PLE reactions video, this time for NXT Vengeance Day, which took place on March 7th at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. We kick off Vengeance Day with a street fight that has Blake Monroe going up against Jaida Parker. Kendo sticks are all around the ring, and the NXT universe are extremely hyped to see Miss Parker. Between them and Booker at the beginning, I can barely hear what's going on. A very unique spot that has Miss Parker hanging from the turnbuckles from her legs, slammed in her head to the back of the chair, and then Blake puts another steel chair, kind of pins her in between the two, and then Blake hits it running into it. So shortly after this, the kendo sticks come into play, and both women take some shots, steel chairs, tables, and even a brick that almost comes into play. Miss Parker then jumps off the turnbuckles through Blake, who's laying on a table. A hypnotic back in the ring as well, but it's just not quite enough to take out Monroe, who has been pretty strong in this matchup. The NXT universe is behind both here, but in the end, diamonds are a woman's best friend, and in this case, they are Blake's as well. She unveils a bag of diamonds from under the ring, throws some in Miss Parker's face, and then hits a glamour shot into said diamonds on the the floor of the ring for Blake Monroe to get the win here in what was a very entertaining opening contest to NXT Vengeance Day, and the crowd were very much into this. And like I said in the predictions video, I think Blake winning this one was the right call. Jaida is clearly very over, and Blake kind of feels like she's kind of been treading water for a bit, and I think is capable of much more. So I think this win here will help her get some momentum back on her side. And like I said, a very decent start to NXT Vengeance Day. I give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Getting into the next contest of the evening, we have Tony D'Angelo going up against Dion Lennox of Dark State. Dark State and Dion are, of course, waiting for Tony in the parking lot, but a decoy is used to arrive in Tony's car, and Tony kind of attacks everyone from behind. The advantage is starts off in Tony's favor, but it is clear that neither could wait for this match to start. Noticeably in the back, OTM did come into play a bit, so we'll see kind of where that goes. Some more back and forth in the parking lot, garage, and eventually through the crow's nest wall, kind of that holds it up before we finally get both competitors in the ring and the match officially started. A very unique spot that has Dion suplexing Tony through the announce table from the first row of the crowd. I thought that was a pretty cool spot there. This isn't quite enough to get the win, though, as in the end, Tony hits a spear and a dead to rights to get the win and seemingly complete his mission that he had set forth upon coming back to NXT, and that was to get revenge on Darkseid. This one was more of a fight or a brawl than an actual match. But entertaining nonetheless, and kind of delivered kind of more so than I was expecting it to. Gave this one a 7 out of 10. Getting into the next match of the evening, we have Tatum Paxley going up against Izzi Dame with Sean Spears and Nico Vance of the Calling. Izzi is defending her NXT Women's North American Championship. Tatum wastes absolutely no time once this match gets started, seemingly a theme throughout the night so far. As mentioned in our predictions video, not a ton of title matches throughout the night, but lots of heated rivalries, this one obviously being a prime example. This match is full of drama and gets quite a bit of time. Nico and Sean try to get involved, but even with all that, Tatum continues to persevere. Izzi gets really frustrated on numerous occasions throughout this match. Her inability to put away Tatum, and quite possibly this ends up being the downfall of Izzi, as in the end, Tatum does hit a cemetery drive to get the win over Dame and is your new NXT Women's North American Champion. A few spots during this match that weren't perfect, but the storytelling during this one was really good. Izzi continues to improve, and especially from an emotional kind of character standpoint, storytelling standpoint, if you will, I think she's making strides and obviously improving on her in-ring work as well. And Tatum, just a very unique and fun talent, always very consistent. not a perfect match, but from a storytelling perspective, I feel like this one was a ton of fun. And now the question is, will this be the end of this rivalry, or will Izzy be hunting for revenge? I have a feeling that she probably will, but we'll have to wait and see kind of where they take things from here. But one thing's for certain, I think. Tatum's run here with North American Championship should be a ton of fun. Rating for this one for me is 8 out of 10, and it's match of the night for me. Before the next match, however, we do see Robert Stone in the middle of the ring. He brings down Fatal Influence. Zarya and Soul end up coming to the ring as well to claim that they are both owed a shot at the NXT Women's Championship. In the end, Robert Stone announces that on March 17th in Houston, Texas, it will be Jacy Jayne defending her championship against both Zarya and Soul. That'll be an interesting contest, and unfortunately for Jacy, having to take on both of them, but kind of playing third wheel there to that rivalry. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they play that one out. Obviously, that one will just be a few weeks before Stand delivers, so interesting timing there. But NXT is the train that never stops, so we'll have to see kind of where that one heads. But the next contest of the evening is an NXT Underground match. This one featuring Kelani Jordan going up against one half of the AAA Mixed Tag Team Champions and that of Lola Vice. Going into this match, the objective was clear for Kelani, attack that injured hand, but in the end, it wasn't enough as Lola hits a back fist seemingly out of nowhere just when it looked like Kelani might have Lola figured out and kind of had the advantage kind of in her favor. It just wasn't enough because Lola still had one decent hand, and that was all it took to knock out Kelani on this occasion. And I've never seen, I could be in the minority here, but I've never seen an underground match that really worked for me. And this one was heated and felt very personal, but it's just, in the end, it just doesn't feel like it's a wrestling match that really can keep my attention. And although this one was quick, and so I definitely did play in the favor, didn't go long, didn't overstay its welcome by any means. But this is just a match type that I just never get excited to see. I think probably best case scenario. I can't recall an underground match I particularly enjoyed. This one was decent enough, so I will give it a 6 out of 10. A good win for Lola, though, even with that injured hand, the match type kind of playing in her favor. And now that we have kind of 1-1 here with Kelani and Lola, I have a feeling that we'll see probably one more in the near future. We then get into our main event, which has Ricky Saints going up against Joe Hendry for the NXT Championship. The crowd very much behind Joe Hendry for this one. Saints hits both a spear and a Revolution DDT, but it still wasn't quite enough. A couple of low blows by each gentleman here, as well as some miscommunication from Ethan Page, who makes his way down to the ring towards the end of the match. With the ending proving right, all of those that believe, with a standing ovation to get the win here over Saints is Joe Hendry and still your NXT champion. Very happy with the results of this one. I think it would have just kind of been too soon for Hendry to lose that title. And like I kind of said in the predictions video, I just feel like Saints is just kind of here because he was the last one to hold that title and really nothing else. Just kind of felt like he didn't really deserve this title match, at least from my end. And I think kind of the way he kind of showed himself in the promo earlier between him and Saints, and the way he kind of looked at the title, and then we'll make of whatever that slide was what you will. That title clearly missing Saints, and it seemed like it was a bit too obvious to be on accident. But I think Ethan might be out for himself sooner rather than later, and I actually think he'll be gunning for Joe Hendry in the NXT Championship sooner rather than later. Perhaps another triple threat for the men's NXT Championship side as well. I would have no issues with that. I think that would be more entertaining. Ethan Page is just too good to have not have a title for very long. So that would be absolutely no complaints for me if that is the direction we're headed. Unfortunately, this main event just really didn't deliver. It just kind of felt like a little better than a weekly match, but not really much above that for me. Ethan Page kind of saved this match from being the worst one of the night. But overall, NXT Vengeance Day does get a 7 out of 10 from me. The women's NXT North American Championship being my personal favorite, followed closely by that street fight that kicked off the show with Monroe and Miss Parker. The Dion and Tony match was a pleasant surprise for me, but the other and last two matches of the night, just not my cup of tea, and felt like they didn't really do anything special, especially the underground match. Like I said, just not my cup of tea, and maybe it is yours. Maybe you enjoyed it more than I did, but that's just my opinion on that one. The main event, outside of the Ethan drama, kind of how I was just kind of saying there, yeah, it just felt like it wasn't a good enough match to be the main event, and I could be in the minority on that one as well. But yeah, just didn't feel like it was anything super special. But I think you put Ethan Page in that main event, and I think that will kind of resolve all issues, at least from my end. But that was our thoughts here at the push on NXT Vengeance Day. What did you make of it? What were your favorite matches of the evening, least favorite matches? Right decisions? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, as it does help us out tremendously. We'll be back shortly with the next installment of our WrestleMania series, as well as our Raw, NXT, and SmackDown recap this upcoming week. But until next time, this has been The Push with Nick and KP. We'll see you soon. Take care.